Walk into almost any store in America, and you'll notice something most people never stop to question. The same pattern, playing out again and again. People who are already under financial pressure, spending money on things that quietly keep them stuck. Not because they're careless, not because they don't work hard, but because these decisions feel small in the moment, while the consequences grow silently over time. That's how financial struggle becomes permanent, not from one catastrophic mistake, but from dozens of ordinary choices repeated every single week. If you truly want to change your financial life, you don't need a lucky break. You need to stop funding the habits that are working against you, because every dollar you spend is either building your future or quietly tearing it down. Imagine someone earning around $48,000 a year. They walk into a dealership and walk out with a $32,000 car. The payment lands somewhere around $520 a month. That's over $6,000 a year just to drive something that immediately starts losing value. Now compare that to a 3-year-old version of the same car priced closer to $19,000. Same function, same purpose, but a dramatically different financial outcome. That gap in cost isn't just savings, it's opportunity. Invested consistently over time, that difference could grow into a 6-figure advantage, because the real cost of a purchase isn't what you pay today, it's what you give up tomorrow. Imagine someone buying $10 worth of lottery tickets every week. It feels harmless, almost invisible, but that's over $500 a year. Over 20 years, that's $10,000 spent chasing a win that almost never comes. Now imagine redirecting that same $10 a week into a simple investment account. Nothing flashy, nothing exciting, but consistent. Over time, that habit becomes something powerful. Because wealth is not built on luck, it's built on discipline. Let's say your car breaks down and you need $400 immediately. You take a short-term loan with a $60 fee. 2 weeks later, you can't repay it, so you roll it over. Now you've paid $120, then $180, and suddenly you've paid more in fees than the amount you originally borrowed. That's not relief, that's a cycle. And the only real escape is building even the smallest financial cushion so emergencies stop turning into long-term damage. You walk into a store and see a couch for $65 a month. It feels manageable. It feels within reach. But after 5 years of payments, you've spent nearly $4,000 on something that could have been bought used for $600. The trick is simple. They don't sell you the price. They sell you the payment. But financially successful people think differently. They don't ask, can I afford the monthly cost? They ask, what is the total cost of this decision? You buy a $900 laptop. At checkout, you're offered a $180 protection plan. It sounds responsible, smart even. So you agree. But the laptop works perfectly for years. That $180, gone. Now imagine if you had saved or invested that money instead. Because most of the time you're not buying protection, you're buying peace of mind for a problem that never happens. A streaming service here, a subscription there, $25, $15, $12. Before you realize it, you're spending $90 a month. That's over $1,000 a year on services you barely use. Stretch that over a decade and factor in investment growth, and you're looking at tens of thousands of dollars gone. Not on anything meaningful, just on convenience and habit. You don't need everything. You need control. This one doesn't feel dangerous. That's why it is. Buying lunch for $11 every workday feels normal, but that's about $220 a month. Cooking at home might cost $70. That's a $150 difference every single month. Over a year, that's $1,800. Invested over time, that's not just savings, that's leverage, that's options, that's freedom. All 7 of these habits have one thing in common. They reward the present while quietly stealing from the future. That's the real divide in personal finance. Not income, not intelligence, but time horizon. People who struggle financially ask, "Can I afford this right now?" People who build wealth ask, "What is this costing me long term?" And that one shift in thinking changes everything, because a $500 habit is never just $500. It's what that money could have become if you had given it time. You don't need to overhaul your entire life overnight. Start simple. Look at your last 90 days of spending. Not what you think you spent, what you actually spent. Find the patterns. Pick one habit, just one. Cut it. Then redirect that money automatically into savings or investments before you can touch it, before you can spend it. Start small if you need to, because wealth isn't built in big dramatic moments. It's built in quiet decisions repeated consistently over time. The people who win financially aren't always the smartest. They aren't always the highest earners. They're the most consistent. They stop leaking money into things that don't matter and start directing it into things that do. Because every dollar you spend is a vote for the life you have today or the life you want tomorrow. Choose carefully.